What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Sam the Beard Guy channel. So I am always asking in the comments section on my videos what are good ideas for extra videos or new videos, and one recurring thing that I keep getting asked is to do a video on voicings and chords, which you already know because you clicked on this video because it is going to be titled something about chords. But yeah, that's one thing I haven't done a ton of talking about on this channel. I've talked a lot about improvisation and things like that. I've touched on a little bit of chordal stuff in the advanced video I did, but yeah, I'm going to talk about some voicing ideas and chord ideas that I use when comping. We're going to go from very simple to kind of advanced. I'm going to do 5 or 6 depending on how I split some of these up. But yeah, if y'all like this kind of stuff, like, subscribe, share, sub. Also, go follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I just created a TikTok because everyone keeps saying do a TikTok. So if you're into that kind of thing, yeah, go follow me. So the first thing we're going to talk about with chords is, I'm going to start very simple, very basic. I'm calling it basic voicing. So we take we're going to work on a 2-5-1. So let's do a 2-5-1 in the key of C. Very simple. I'm going to just think of voicing it as very basic 1-3-5-7, or maybe like 3-5-7-9 kind of voicings with the root in the left hand. This could be something that you do on a very simple song, or even like to just kind of relax a song that's very dense and intense. Sometimes it's nice to kind of just open up and take a break from very clustered deep voicings and just kind of play simply. So let's just do a 2-5-1. So right, very basic. So I would use that. Let's just make up a song. See, I'm already gravitating towards some of the more advanced stuff. But let's think of like a. This is very basic. So yeah, that can be nice to use, and you're just kind of trying to open up something and just make it just kind of easy on the ears. We can get so caught up in doing dense and fancy voicings that sometimes it's nice just to kind of take a step back. So yeah, that is not a lot to touch on there, but yeah, basic voicings is one thing that I do just to kind of ease up the listener, or ease up the ears for the listener. The next type of comping that I would consider an area or type of comping is what I would call melodic comping. So let's do a rhythm changes. So you got, B flat, right? For those that don't know what rhythm changes are, it's just a 1-6-2-5 progression. So it's 1 6 2 5 1 6 2 5 1 6 2 5. Maybe like a 3. Walk down 2 5. There's different variations of how to treat some of those chords, but it's in essence harmonically it is a 1 6 2 5. And then on the bridge you have a 3 dominant to a 6 dominant to a 2 dominant to a 5 dominant. So, yeah, so melodic comping, I'm thinking of like shells in the left hand, or just hitting some of your basic, your 3/7s, or just some kind of, just hitting some of the basic notes in your chord, and then thinking of melodic stuff in your right hand. Even there at the end, I'm like just doing the tonic. So, yeah, I'm just thinking of, I'm not thinking of these shells a ton, so if you don't know how to play kind of basic, just one-handed chords, I would work on that, but I'm not even thinking about this. This is just muscle memory. So then I can think about actually creating melody up here. So, yeah, shells down here, and then just thinking about creating melodic content. Some of that's kind of like bebop inspired. So even that. So, yeah, you have to be careful with this kind of comping because you don't want to step on the person soloing. So, this could be a great type of comping if you have a melodic instrument that's playing down here, and so you're kind of filling in the space around them. So you got voicings up here, voicings down here. It's like an alto or tenor that's kind of playing in this range, or a trumpet. If you had like a soprano sax that was playing up in here, that might not work as well. Or if you're like deep into a solo and the sax is just like up in its register, like going crazy, that might not be great to be doing. So you got to be careful that you're not using that in a way that's stepping on the soloist or the melody or just lead. I remember when I was in college, when I was a freshman, I got roasted for doing something like this. This guy, I think we were just playing a blues, and it was just, I don't remember what he played, but I'll just kind of do exactly what he and I did. So it's like, so this is him, and then I'll do, this is him, and this is me. And I'll never forget, he's on his trombone, and he puts his trombone down and screams at me, "Let me play." And I was like 18, 19 years old, so I was just learning. And I'll never forget that moment, because everyone kind of looked at me. We're in a big band, so 20 people look at me and laugh. I'm this idiot freshman in college. But yeah, just be careful with this kind of comping stuff, that you're not stepping on top of the soloist or the lead melody. So yeah, that's melodic. I call it melodic comping, or lyrical comping. You can call it that if you want. The next kind of comping that I would consider just a classification of comping is what I've called the Mantooth voicings. I have talked about this on my channel before. I've done an in-depth video on it in my 10 advanced piano concepts video. So if you want a more in-depth Mantooth voicing video, go check that one out. But Mantooth voicings, essentially, for simplicity explanation, is stacking chords in very chordal or open voicings. So if I take let's take a G7, I would start on the 7th, the 3rd, the 13, 9, and the 5th. So it's this very open sound. And then I could flip that and do, this doesn't sound as good, but I could do 3, 7, 9, 5 root. So I won't explain Mantooth voicings in depth because I've got another video for that, but Mantooth voicings do give a very open and spacey sound that you can use. So let me think of a song that would be good for this. So right there. So very open, just kind of a feel. So what's another song that I can do? So Yeah, so some of that sounds kind of boring because I would never just play that type of voicing for a whole course. I would implement other stuff, which I kind of squeezed in bits and pieces there. But yeah, so Mantooth, just very open, spacious voicings is a great way to, again, just like basic voicings is a great way to just kind of relax the listener's ears. Mantooth open voicings are another way to do that. So as we go through these, you'll find that going back and forth between these different styles of comping these chords is a great way to just open up or to tighten up or to just relax or relieve the listener's ears in a way that can create a lot of diversity and freshness to your playing. So, as solos are like ascending and ascending, you might start to like change how dense your chords and how rhythmically you're playing, which adds to the soloist just kind of overall overall arch of that person's solo. So, yeah, so that's Mantooth. It's very open voicings. The next kind of comping that you can use in your comping, and this is actually not as much of a concept but more of a theory, but it's extremely important that you know how to do this, is playing chords on top of chords. I've also talked about this in other videos before, but being able to play chords on top of chords is important because it helps you learn shapes that help you get certain alterations. So a perfect example of this is if I wanted a sharp 9 voicing. So let's take an F7. An F7, the sharp 9 is the A flat, so that's the sharp 9. You would never play it like that, right? That's boring. But if you think of like in the Mantooth voicing style, so you get your 3rd and your 7th down here, and then you play an A flat triad on top. Now that I know that the triad starting in the sharp 9 works, I can take that to any key. I can go to C, E flat triad over the 3rd and 7th shell. I can do B flat. This is inverted, right? Sharp 9 is a D flat. I'm playing a D flat triad in 2nd inversion. I could do E flat, 3rd, 7th, sharp 9, 5th, 7. Now, and sometimes you want to avoid stacking the same note in your voicing, so you could change it up a little bit, maybe throw in 13, but that kind of has a weird sound, maybe. It's a little bit more dense, so yeah, just use your ears for that. But and then if I go from here, if I wanted to say the voicing is a sharp 9, sharp 11, or a flat 5, depending on which it is, I wanted the A natural in there, I could just play a F sharp minor chord. Let's go back to F and do that. So 3rd, 7th, sharp 9, sharp 11, or flat 5, depending on what it's calling for, and then the 7th up here. If it called for a 13 in there as well, you could take that voicing and go, or I would actually do that. Now you're playing an A flat diminished. So that's 3 different alterations you can hit by just changing the chord that you're playing in your right hand that starts in the sharp 9. You get this, you get your minor, and you get a diminished. So, yeah, another chord you can use on top of chords is if you want to hit a sharp 11. So if I'm on a C7, I'd play a D triad. You're getting your 9, your sharp 11, and your 13. If you're thinking, as I'm playing this, I'm thinking, well, what if it doesn't ask for a 9? You can almost always play a 9 in a voicing, even if it doesn't ask for it. If it says 7, a 9 is almost implied that it's okay. Now, if it's asking for a flat 9, that's different. But if it's just it just says sharp 11, a 9 is going to be fine. Even if you're playing like a C major 7. Even that 13 could be okay. C7. If you haven't seen Jacob Collier's video on Super Lydian and Super Meta Ultra Hydra, or Hydra, this is not Marvel, Hyper Lydian, he talks about how, like, theory books say the next, it stops there, but he says, well, actually it keeps going because I said it does. He does like a whole thing. It's really cool. It's like a really short video too. But yeah, so if you wanted that sharp 11 sound, you're playing a D chord over C7, which means you're starting on the 9, right? I could take that to any key. So let's go to E flat, F chord, B flat, C chord. And this works for dominant and major. D flat chord. Or let's go back to C7. What if it asks for a flat 9? Now you can play a like a minor chord starting on the sharp 11. Right? Does it E flat? Yeah, so those are several different types of chords that you can play on type of chords that give you alterations that it might ask for. So you don't want to just become this guy that's like thinking of chords on chords, but it can help you just kind of get some shapes under your fingers to give you muscle memory. So when you're playing through a chart and you do see, you know, a sharp 9, sharp 11, 13 voicing come up, you're like, oh, sick. I know exactly. That's, you know, whatever. So, and over time, I mean, when I said that voicing out loud to myself, I didn't think, oh, you know, this triad. I just thought, oh, it's just these notes. And my fingers over time with muscle memory have learned the best way, you know, to kind of voice that out. So yeah, I would practice those, even with what I just said, or finding new chords to place on chords. Another one that I didn't even talk about. Let's take a C7. Let's play a D major 7 triad on top. That's sick, right? Or F7. That's a cool one. You're basically hitting your 13, your flat 9, and your sharp 5. So, yeah, when you're adding a fourth note into your right hand, it gets a little bit trickier. But even on like minor chords, you can think of it like this. So, right, this is a D minor 7 here. You can think F major 7 over. That's just giving you the 9 of your D minor. Or even like a B flat 7. Just thinking of an A minor chord, or even an F major 7 chord over B flat. So I actually think a lot of like this when I'm playing major 7 chords and minor chords, of just these like, you know, F major 7, A minor. So yeah, chords on chords. If you're not familiar with those, learn them. It is extremely important to just kind of understand, just to develop and gain muscle memory in your fingers. Next, kind of approach to chordal comping is clusters. So we've talked about basic voicing, melodic comping, Mantooth, chords on chords. Now we're going to talk about cluster. So cluster is kind of the opposite of Mantooth. Mantooth is very open. cluster is the complete opposite of that, and you're just like playing things really tight and clustered. So if I think of let's take a D flat major 7 chord. This would be like kind of a cluster to me. Or if I want to take a C7 chord. I'm not aware of any like theory behind cluster voice. There might be some theory out there that's like, here's how to do a cluster chord. I don't know of anything like that, but I think of clusters as just almost kind of a tone or a sound, not as much of, and not so much of a theory. Where Mantooth has a little bit more theory to it, because there's a way to play open voicings and kind of have it sound good, and there's voice leading there, and you can kind of get away from the theory and just use the concept of open voicings to do Mantooth voicings, but there is some theory there. With cluster voicings, I think of it more as just how can I create just a block of sound that just kind of changes the tonality. So, you know, C7, if you see a C7 flat 9, right? It's just all here, right? Or you want to throw a 13 in there? So let's take an example of like we're doing a really kind of open form or open like Mantooth voicing comping. Let's do the last part of The Way You Look Tonight. So do an open. The solo starts going. Gonna open it up a little bit. Starts going crazy again. Right, so using that cluster, I mean, no one's soloing with me, but just thinking of as a solo is ascending and ascending, and all of a sudden, sometimes when you're soloing, there'll be like a sus5 will get set up going into the top of a form, and the drummer's like kind of filling into the top of the form, and you know, there's the cliche dun, 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 ga. It's like a cliche like hit that bands do is 1 2 3 4, and solo's going crazy. Maybe the bass player's like pedaling a 5 still, and you can be doing cluster voicings just to add some like. It opens up a little bit. Yeah, so clusters. Again, there's no like theory to clusters that I know of or I think is important, but yeah, just playing like just really dense, clustered voicings to kind of create shift in tonality from you to the soloist is really important. So yeah, just working on, again, there's no theory, so just working on sitting down on a chord and going, hey, how can I like play this dense? Sometimes it just looks like taking the scale, right? So if I take a C scale, just playing 5 notes of that scale, right? Or that's what it can look like. So yeah, just sitting down, experimenting with clusters and how to play clusters, and just finding out what works. When I'm playing clusters, I'm not usually thinking of something I've learned before. I'm just thinking of like how to play dense material in my chords to add to the soloist. So yeah, cluster voicings. The last one is what I just wrote down in my notes is just whatever. I don't know how helpful that is, but whatever is just there's just no theory. You're just like playing whatever, right? And so I'm going to attempt to do this because usually when I just play whatever, I'm not thinking about it. But let's do. I forget how that goes though. Yeah, so that was kind of whatever, and also a mix of a lot of those. So, yeah, again, there's no like theory to playing whatever, but sometimes it can be a mix of just all of the different concepts we've talked about. So if I were to say anything, whatever is kind of playing whatever, but also just mixing and matching all of these other concepts together to just kind of create an ebb and flow of just giving sounds and tonalities to the soloist. Because like I've said already, it's very important that you can build energy and take away energy with the soloist as they do, and that's not always done rhythmically. That's done tonally. And so yeah, so hopefully this was helpful. You can go from basic voicings, melodic comping, Mantooth open, kind of Mantooth openy voicings, chords on chords, then clusters, and then just implementing all of those into your playing and doing mix and matching different concepts with other concepts, and to just kind of create muscle memory and just give you more language in a sense to comp with. So yeah, hopefully all that was helpful. I think I did this in one take. There's nothing in there I want to cut out, which is impressive for me, which is less editing, which is nice. So yeah, like, subscribe, share, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. Go check me out. Thank y'all for the support so far. It's been fun. All right, y'all have a good one.